On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will talk about how Matt is no longer one with the One Wheel after an accident has left him looking for a Bacta tank and a pair of Vader legs. After the depression, they'll take a deep dive into Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4 to break down its Easter eggs, cameos, important moments, and Jedi tombs. They'll talk about the 5+ hour Kenobi movie news too, as well as an update from Taika on his Star Wars project. Of course, the show will end with the question of the week responses and the latest round of top 5 Star Wars fan artists. Punch it, Chewie! Hey now, everybody, I got the wrong screens up. Oh, shit. Let's get this fixed. Okay. Oh, that's Jack too. Welcome to the broken leg edition of the Star Wars Time Show. That's right, my friends. Just last week, I was sitting here speaking my truest cheer it Imwe philosophy about the One Wheel, and a week later, while the One Wheel is still a pretty damn fun device, it fucked me up. Okay, if you're in the Discord, you've heard this by now, or if you looked on IG, I did throw up a post in the story. But on Friday night, I kind of learned the hard way to pay attention to the One Wheel's warning signs, which is called the pushback. And anyone that owns a One Wheel, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's listed in directions. It pretty much says, don't do this or you will die. And, being the jerk off that I am, I did something and I died. So I am currently laid up with a broken leg right at the knee joint. It's bad enough that I have to go in for surgery on Thursday to get a plate and some screws inserted. Because, Nick, what I essentially did, if you picture the tibia, it connects to the knee, right? Like the top of it.
Yep.
The top of my tibia now has a lateral fracture that goes directly across it. And the left side of it got impacted down. So if you look at my knee, like an x-ray, you'll see where the tibia connects and one side of it is droopy. And they're like, yeah, if you don't get this fixed, your leg is going to grow crooked and you'll have arthritis and you won't be able to walk. So that's where we're at. And that's just the first part of the puzzle of my body, because there could be some soft tissue ligament damage as well. But until the bone gets fixed, can't do much there. All I can tell you is when you look at my knee now, it's a big puffy mess and it just looks not normal. I mean, Nick, there's like gullies in my leg that weren't there last week. Just like missing sections of muscle or tendon, just like all mushed up. So it sucks. I mean, what can I say? I'm not going to sit here. I know some of you, especially older people, older fans, are like, oh, see, that's what you get for being 40 years old on one of those devices. And to you, I say, fucking grow up, get in shape, and live a life. All right? I mean, I'm 41 years old. What do you want me to be doing? Sitting at home playing shuffleboard on my deck with the geriatric neighbors? So shit happens. You get in your car and crash. You can get on your bike and crash. You can get on a skateboard or scooter and crash. While I will take some of the blame because I was going against the board's safety measures, I will toot my horn. I did get the Pint X up to 23.2 miles per hour. It's rated for 18 miles an hour, Nick, so there may be a record in there. And, I've heard from a pretty serious one-wheeler that speed for a Pint X is pretty impressive. So I guess I have that badge of honor. It definitely is not worth the pain and suffering and recovery that I'll be going through, but at least I can say I did something pretty fucking gnarly when I wiped out. I mean, Nick, it was, like I said, 23.2 max speed, but the ride itself, which was about 6 miles long, I averaged 14 miles an hour. So I was hauling ass. Like I said, I was getting very, very comfortable on the board. Apparently too comfortable, and got bit by the old street monster. Just hit a craggy part of road that I can usually handle, but doing 14 miles an hour plus, carving in and out, wasn't quite ready for that. And I may or may not have had a beer at dinner before I went out. So a lot of strikes against me on this.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, you're still alive. You're not bedridden. You're not in the hospital.
Not yet.
Until
that's
surgery
Thursday.
Or anything like that.
That's Thursday.
Yeah. That's Thursday.
Yeah.
But hey, it could have been worse.
Of
course.
Could
have been worse is one way to look at it.
I probably would have preferred a broken arm or like a clavicle or something, but oh well. It's the same leg I spiral fractured in my teens and was laid up for 6 months. So sadly, I'm kind of used to how to maneuver missing my right leg, but it's not fun. I had myself for the first time since Friday, a little pity depression cry this morning when I was trying to get down to the workstation to do some real work and get ready for the show. Cause I'm looking at, I think when it's all said and done, a half a year probably of not having full use of my right leg and all the bullshit that encompasses losing a body part. And, listen, I know there's people out there that don't have fucking legs and arms and they're in wheelchairs. That's fine. All right. I'm not asking for a pity party. I'm just talking about my mental state. I mean, I took myself out at the very beginning of summer.
Yeah.
Gone.
It's
I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to Hilton Head in August, especially not 11-hour drive if my leg is, sticking straight out from a brace. I can't do shit for my family anymore. I can't fucking do anything for my kid. Can't make lunch. Can't pick her up from camp, take her to camp. So there's a little bit of that burden anxiety as well. I don't like being a big baby that people have to take care of. But, oh well, I'm going to have to fucking deal with it. Just like the fact that I can't work out now. A lot of this stuff has just got me messed up in the head, but I've been doing all right so far. I don't know if I'll be able to say the same in another month. So stay tuned to the Star Wars Time Show. You never know what type of mental state I'll be in for the next few months. I know it's always kind of dicey. How's Matt going to be today? But yeah, this thing's definitely got me feeling a little bummed out. All right, well, we lost Nick for the first time, so let's wait and see when he calls back. Here he is. It wouldn't be an episode of the Star Wars Time Show without Nick dropping out. That's just, it's like one of our segments now, right? I mean, we really should. Every Monday, you should open up a line, do your over-under line at the Caminita Casino and see if we can start getting some action on this. I'm sure gambling's legal in your state. Why not? Let's get it going. But
Oh, yeah.
So, it was, it was great being back last week with Nick. I was riding a high. I just took Charlie golfing for the first time Friday evening last week. Then as they left to go to an open gym, I was on the deck like, yeah, you know what? It's about one wheel time. Head out there, smash some speed records, and then about 500 yards from my house, smash my leg. And here we are. All right. So I do think, though, Nick, going into surgery, I'm going to do a full shave of the face, and then the beard's coming back. I think I'm going to have a busted knee beard grow, until things are operational again. Might let that dirty thing come back.
Yeah.
So
have like a full,
there you go.
I
got to do some things to like pretend that my life isn't fucking horrendous right now. If anyone has ideas on how to like maintain some sort of physical fitness when you can't use your right leg for months, let me know, because I think that's going to kill me the most. I'm either going to wither away to nothing just because I'll force myself to not eat, or within 6 months I'll weigh 230 pounds because I won't be able to work out, and I'll just give up on life and eat a bunch of shit and drink a bunch of beer. Speaking of which, that's what I'm looking forward to the most this weekend is getting back to drinking, because that's what makes my leg feel the best, even though I know it's one of the worst things you can do when you have an injury. So
yeah, be careful with that.
I know, because they got me on the hillbilly heroin and all that stuff too. So we'll see. Oh, yeah. We'll see how things go. All right, enough said on the leg. Boo-hoo. I know. Wah. Shit fucking happens, right? But speaking of wah, that's kind of the general tone of the Star Wars fandom these days. Sorry, I'm not talking to you, asshole. But yeah, we had a new episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi released last week, part 4. I know Nick probably fired it up today, so it was fresh on the brain.
Indeed.
As usual, fans had their bitching moments. Once again, I don't quite understand the critiques. Most of them are like, is the series over yet, you fucks? Because we got 2 episodes to go, so quit getting angry at episodes that aren't showing you stuff that you have in your head that you think you're going to see, and just let it play out. Just like the Book of Boba Fett, just like the sequel trilogy. I may have some comments here and there, but I am going to reserve final judgment till the whole thing plays out. Critiquing Kenobi right now would be like going into a movie and walking out 3/4 of the way through and saying, well, they didn't have an ending. They didn't have this. This character didn't do that, which I dreamed up in my head canon, and now I fucking hate everybody. So we were back to that with episode 4. Apparently everyone was angry that that they're like, why are they trying to make us care about Wade when it was very clear Wade dying was for the characters in universe, not for us? Why does it take so many lightsaber strikes to kill a stormtrooper? It's ridiculous. It's like, what? This is what we worry about these days, people. This is what we watch new Star Wars for. I don't.
It's like he should have swung 1 time instead of 3. Like,
yeah. No. Hey, 1-6. Open up your ears. You can't critique a series until it's over. If you want to critique episodes, okay, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, for most of these people, the goddamn sky's falling down every week because something didn't happen in an episode that they thought should happen. This was another one, part 4. You might as well get right into it. Like, it's so dumb. What was the point of this episode? It's so stupid. The Empire's so stupid. How could they let Kenobi just walk around right by him? They're so stupid. It's like, it's a fucking fictional show. Are the bad guys ever intelligent, Nick? Are the bad guys ever intelligent?
The exact thing that happened in episode 4. Like, not only was Obi-Wan Kenobi openly walking around the Death Star,
so is a Wookiee,
like the biggest Imperial station in the galaxy, he was also fucking 68 years old and could barely move. So he couldn't even move nimbly to get out of the way of people coming down the hallway.
Right.
So like, people who are calling that out, I don't know if they haven't seen the original trilogy, if they don't remember episode 4 or what's going on there. But like, I guess for some reason it's okay back then, but now it is.
Well, if you notice, Nick, and this isn't my original thought, so I'm not going to take credit. I read this somewhere, but every episode or every part of Kenobi has mirrored the first 6 Skywalker movies.
Okay.
Think about it.
I have not seen that little one yet, but
it's legit. If you really think about it, it's legit. Yeah. There are moments in each one of these parts that reflect their counterpart in episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you made the correlation for part 4 right here with A New Hope. You are exactly right. There was a rescue mission in an Imperial base. Involving Obi-Wan Kenobi, who used a lot of the same techniques he used in A New Hope. So I'll let you go since it's fresher on your mind. What was your overall impression, feel on part 4? Because as Trevor's saying, he thought it sucked, which I think is a miscalculation on his part. But hey, that's his opinion, so we'll let him have it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't think it was as good as episode 3, but like, it's not going to be as good as episode 3 because that was the one where you had the introduction of Lord Vader and you got to see the first fight between Kenobi and Vader. I mean, I don't know if if that was like a reason that people didn't like it. Again, like I don't look too deeply into these episodes. Like I watch them for enjoyment. I watch them to see the story progress through. I heard, like, I don't know what specific scenes people were talking about, but I heard people talking about like bad CGI. I mean, I guess like it when he was swimming. I'm not 100% sure like what that was in reference to.
I don't get those either because I'm like, well, welcome to Star Wars. Have you seen the originals these days or even the prequels? Like
prequels. I mean, so like, was it as good as 3? No. Was it the worst episode so far in the series? I don't think so. I think that it was like a pretty average episode. It was necessary. We got the Leia rescue, which again mirrors episode 4. This one mirrored episode 4 pretty heavily, infiltrating an Imperial base to save Princess Leia.
She was even on a torture table at one point in time. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I like the mirroring aspects of that between episodes 4 and this particular episode as well. I thought that it was nice to see Kenobi like start to get back into form a little bit, you know, like the episode 3 clearly like he was mentally racked by the appearance of Anakin Vader. He was physically not ready to meet that type of foe. And now you're starting to see him kind of remember the old ways a little bit. You saw a couple of moves that he did. That
twirl, man, right? When he does the twirl and pose, I mean that is vintage prequel era Kenobi as it gets, right there.
Yeah. So you're kind of seeing the blending between the two versions of Kenobi, the prequel version and the original trilogy version. Like in the original trilogy version, when he hides from the stormtroopers when he's in the tractor beam area and uses the Force to kind of distract their attention. Noise, yep. You see these parallels between the Ewan version and the Alec Guinness version, and it's really coming together nicely to form this middle ground where we are in Kenobi's life. So seeing those things was really cool. I'm trying to think if there was anything that I found like offensive. I really
well, I mean that's how most Star Wars fans approach it these days. So
yeah,
what can I find that fucking pissed me off? Because I don't watch Star Wars to be entertained anymore, just to get angry.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have anything that offended me, but that's not the lens that I take when I watch the shows either. Like I don't necessarily go into it like trying. Yeah, I don't even have in my head like, oh, this was a good part and this was a bad part. I just kind of watch it for what it is. And then if there's something that stands out to me, then yeah, I'll call it out. But I don't think that there was anything in particular that was, insanely bad in this
insulting
episode.
to you as a fan. Yeah, I'm with you.
From my perspective.
I think if anything, I've said this before, it's hard for me to say Star Wars is worse in any capacity. Like it's probably not going to come out of my mouth unless we're talking about the portrayal of Anakin's turn in Revenge of the Sith. We just lost Nick again, but I'll go ahead and keep going on. So I think my first takeaway from watching the episode, I do it early in the morning, I'm taking notes. I was like, hey, that was the most rushed paced episode yet, which makes sense. It was under 40 minutes, so we're back into that territory. I think that was probably the only gripe I could have had. I didn't really see the wonky cinematography that a lot of people are pointing out. I didn't get the overall suckiness feel to this episode. I mean, while it was rushed, it still had a pretty good pace, and I do think tension was built up, especially with Tala's character and the situation she was getting herself in while she was trying to help Ben and ultimately Leia. Like Nick mentioned, I really, my favorite parts obviously were watching Ben regain his confidence. I mean, it's like the moment he got out of that fucking Bacta tank, things started to change for him. We see him early on en route to Nur practicing the Force on just a little communicator, and he's still struggling. But by the end of the episode, he is using enough force to contain an ocean's worth of gravity from entering a hallway until he wanted it to rip loose. So
yeah.
And then obviously like the lightsaber stuff's coming back, and he struck the famous Kenobi pose. So it was fun. I even liked like the early Rebel heroics, or what will be the parts of the Rebel Alliance with Wade and Homegirl. What was it? Sully? Wade and Sully. You gotta like those names.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that. Yeah, I mean, was the episode?
Hey, Trevor, are you gonna be one of these gatekeepers now? Is that where we're at? Trevor's a gatekeeper. Just because you didn't like the episode, why can't other people like it? Are you like Nick now? I'm some big fucking idiot that just sits there and gets spoon-fed anything Star Wars and smiles? Like, come on, dude. You might have thought it sucked. I did not.
I think we ragged on Boba Fett, like when it ended for sure. I don't think that I ever really ragged on it. Like the only thing that I think that I had a problem with Fett was like, you know, one kind of the choice in that series to completely diverge away from the story of Boba Fett for as long as they did, and then just some decisions made around how they treated the Rancor.
I give up. Who fucking cares? Let's just move on. It just, I've even started on IG. I'm unfollowing accounts at this point in time. I don't. You just gotta. I don't care. Yeah. Like I don't need it anymore. I like Star Wars. I'm comfortable with the fact that I like Star Wars, and that I guess now it's a fucking badge to wear. I liked Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4. I'm a fucking tool, but I don't care. Who cares? All right, so I'll keep going on. Let's. I kind of did things different this week, Nick. I did just an Easter egg breakdown, which may have been the right call because the video actually got viewed by a few thousand people, which is a surprise over here. So
yeah, this one too. The way that you titled this breakdown, was good because it was helped.
I'm off my game now. Like I can't take it anymore with certain Star Wars people. It's like what why are we here? All right, we recognize you, 1/6 shooter. You did not like it. That is okay, but why are you coming after people that did? You're acting like the people we shit on every week. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean this kind of like.
It's sickening. Nick, I know why you are the way you are now. I may finally be getting there.
This is just what happens when you have way more content coming out for like a franchise than what had previously been coming out. So, you know, when Star Wars was just Star Wars movies and stuff like that, it was a little bit easier to kind of take the good with the bad. And then just say like, hey, well, this is just how it's going to be.
It's just in your face so much. It's like I hate feeling like an asshole for liking something. And I guess that's on me for letting myself get that way. But when you were just inundated with it, dude, I mean, it's like social media stories. Fuck Kenobi. Deb Chow's a stupid cunt. They can't do shit. It fucking it's just it starts to make me feel like a loser. It's like, am I retarded? Do I not know how to consume Star Wars anymore? Am I missing something, people?
I mean, that's kind of why I disconnected.
There's no fucking fun left in this fandom.
It's new. I think that's the problem is that this amount of content is new. So people are going to comment. People are used to commenting on Star Wars in an individual like movie basis where you can say like, I didn't like this whole movie. But yeah, I mean, it is still a little weird to make a series judgment based off of one episode, especially after episode 3 was so highly touted. People really enjoyed episode 3.
Well, yeah, normal people, trust me, there was plenty of hate around that. You know, Vader moved too slow. It got dark too quick. I mean, this is the fandom, dude. This is what people want to pay attention to. Why even do like insight and breakdowns? We should just turn on the mics for 20 minutes, vomit all over it, then take a dump to end, and there's the show. We'd be famous. That's what people want. Star Wars sucks. Kenobi blows. I could do a better job. Game over. See you next week.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into the breakdown of the Easter eggs, because I think there's some good stuff here with the tomb, like who's in the tomb, what they're using the tomb for, and everything.
Right.
I think that
let's
that
get
again,
into
like,
this issue-plagued episode, as fans are calling it. Obi-Wan Kenobi, part issues. All right, so this is how we're going to have to probably do this now, because I'm getting lazy and I'm doing... my breakdowns are... all right, 1/6 shooter. We're good, man. It's all right. I'm moving on. But you literally have it in writing that... here's what you read. I don't understand how Boba Fett was okay to rag on, but everyone seems to be bending over backwards to defend a clunker episode of Kenobi. How else are we supposed to take that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we like. I don't know if we didn't rag on.
Of course, we
Boba
made
Fett.
fun of the mod bikes, but I just like I'm saying now, it was nothing to ruin the series or the episode for me. It was a bad look. I don't know. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree here. I don't think part 4 was just some flaming pile of shit. I don't get it. But if you did, that's fine. Just don't tell us or tell people like me that liked it that we're assholes for defending it. Like, I don't know how else to read into that comment. Sorry if I took it too personally. I'll move on. But anyways, like I was saying, I do have this separate Easter egg video. We're going to talk about the Easter eggs. We'd love for you to check this out. Everything's quick these days, okay? I mean, I think the Easter egg is under 3 minutes, maybe 2.5. And then I did like a top moments under 60 seconds, cameos under 40 seconds. So the way this thing is going to go is I still have the screenshots in chronological order. If you're new here, we like to break down with screens, kind of starting from beginning till end. But we used to be like, oh, here are the eggs first and then the top moments. Now it's just going to kind of be a free-wheeling discussion here. So, you're going to get some top moments woven in with some of the eggs. And there's some big eggs in this episode, and I think Nick is correct. One of the reasons I think we did get some heat this week is that I work the titles enough without being like some of these other douchebag sites out there that just... Friends, I'm talking Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. with all the Jedi tomb names and whatnot in the title of their posts. I mean, that's like where media is getting these days, just to kind of, get some clickbait. Like, oh, the Jedi tomb and XXX. I was like, I'm not going to do that. I know that's the way to do it, but I can't do that. So, I worked in the tomb stuff in there, and here we go. But anyways, all right, so everyone can hear us still. What the fuck is going on today? Of any day where I'm just going to walk off the show, this is going to be the day. I think this is the day. Between my fucking leg and just the fandom, and now people can't hear this, that, the other things. Like, what? Why? Like, why do I do this? Why do I do this? We can
make it a short one.
There's
not too much to talk about.
All right, let me get back on track. I'm all fucking frazzled today. You gotta, be with me here, people. I've just had my fucking entire 6 months ruined, all right? I'm trying, damn it. You guys coming in here and kicking my balls over Star Wars and me liking it. It's like, fuck. I can't get solace anywhere. Okay, so here we go. Top moments, Easter eggs, scenes of note from Obi-Wan Kenobi, Episode 4. Already worst fucking episode of Star Wars Time Show 2022. I can feel it. So up first, Nick, I'm just going with some top moments here because I, for one, in this shitty episode, found it to be a beautiful parallel that Deb Chow and her shitty cinematographer decided to do, showing Obi-Wan literally getting ratcheted down into a tank using the same type of rig that his former brother was in at the same time after their encounter. I loved everything about it. I love how she would cut back between Ben and Vader until ultimately Ben wakes up and says the name, and Vader responds through the Force and opens his own eyes. But I like that they chose to kind of put him in like this old, very mechanical-esque back-to-tank.
Yeah.
You didn't see Luke's ass getting hung down in there by like an engine hoist like Ben. I mean, that was very deliberately done to parallel himself and his burnt body to Anakin's burnt body. Again, shitty episode, apparently, but I love that type of stuff. That is Star Wars. It was a great parallel between these two characters that are essentially attached at the hip through the Force.
Yeah, agree there.
So that was my first moment. I like that, and you gotta like when Hayden finally gets some screen time, even though you still can't even tell that's Hayden, because at this point it's been more or less revealed that it takes 5 people to bring Darth Vader to life these days, and Hayden plays a very, very, very small part in that. I'm sure he has worn the suit, but unless he's just standing there, that ain't Hayden in the suit. It's going to be either the stunt double or the body double.
Or the body double, yeah. It's basically, like, I think they have a guy that is, like, all about motion and, like, walking a certain way. And then you have the fighting guy who we saw in episode 3.
Tom O'Connell or something like that. Yeah,
and then in scenes where Vader is relatively still or doesn't require any sort of, like, specialty movement, then it's Hayden in the suit. So yeah, I'm curious to see the next couple episodes if they plan to use Hayden himself a little bit more, or if
Nick, they didn't give us the flashback in episode 4 is supposed to happen, so now I'm gonna light this shit on fire.
But there's 2 more episodes left.
There is. I shouldn't get so angry about that. That was another one. How come we haven't seen a fucking flashback yet? It's like, oh my God. Like, come on. We are. Yeah. We've told you. I mean, that just goes to show you how many people don't actually listen to us when they listen to us. I mean, do you want the spoiler? I mean, we talked about it probably 2 months ago. A flashback is coming. Just fucking sit tight. Like, come on.
This is... Now, like, I will say that, like, there are a lot of arguments for and against, like, episodic releases versus... full drops like Netflix does.
Right.
Episodic releases give us the opportunity to do stuff like this where we can go episode by episode, week by week, do breakdowns, talk about things individually, because we're all at the same point. But for people who are getting antsy and who are getting upset at the lack of some scenes that have yet to happen in the series, they would probably prefer the Netflix style where it's like, okay, well, here's all 6 episodes. You can watch them in one day if you want to. And then you don't have to worry as much about, like, why hasn't this happened yet is kind of, the situation that we're in now.
I think you bring up a good point, and Disney's never going to do it because they're cocksuckers this way. But just based on, I mean, outside of The Mandalorian, any show now, it seems like if Star Wars fans don't get the whole fucking thing to kind of satisfy their headcanon, they're going to raise it to the ground. It's just like, we're a bunch of impatient babies that can know. I mean, dude, I used to have to sit around for 3 fucking years to see what was going to happen next in the goddamn prequels. 3 years with no fucking functional internet. I mean, you didn't have the internet back then that you do now. 3 years. You'd have to sit around. I mean, there's probably barely even a StarWars.com to get official news. It's like, but no, these days, I mean, 7 days is too much to satisfy the headcanon. And, we've talked about this before. I used to be someone that would, kind of let my headcanon influence how I felt about the creator's canon, and it's not good. It's fun to think about stuff and speculate and dream, but at some point in time, you just have to say, you know what? The people doing it had a different idea. I guess I should have fucking done more in my life and been working in Star Wars if I wanted to get my headcanon out there. It ain't worth it. Just give up on it, my friends. That's why these days I leave it just to speculation, and if I get to sit here on this little shitty show and pound my chest with a speculation win. I'm not going to sit there and then just because one of my speculations bomb, blame it on the show. I missed. All right? It's okay. It's okay. Same for the canon people. Like, in the same breath, they'll say, I would blow Dave Filoni if given the chance, but then they'll say Disney is ruining A New Hope canon. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, like, do you know Star Wars, or you just sitting here for clickbait and cashing in on the fucking rage culture that we all seem to love these days? I don't know. But anyways, back to the breakdown here. I have a feeling now I've just lost even more listeners and followers, but who cares? It's going to be a lonely summer here at SWTS HQ. Okay, so we'll talk about our first egg of the episode, if you will. And that's when we met our friend O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s Roken character.
Indeed.
Who, I've sadly known about for quite some time because, as I've been telling you all, I went a little bit further into the leaks than young Nick did, but I've done well and have kind of I kept that stuff to myself. But I did know that Roken was going to be one of the key players in the path, as they're calling it, which is, the Jedi Underground Railroad, but also the beginnings of what will become the Rebel Alliance. But the Easter eggs we get from him, he gives us a couple, actually 3 I counted. First, he drops Coruscant. Then he talks about rock floaters. We all know that's kind of an inside joke on Force users. And then probably the coolest, at least to me, is he refers to Ben as General Kenobi right off the bat.
Yeah,
not Obi-Wan, not Ben, just straight General Kenobi.
Yeah, reaching for the old names, going back to the old times for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of like that exchange there, which then led into a top moment for me, just because it is slightly iconic. We get Ben, and yeah, I'm calling him Ben because that's what he wants to be called. He's in a new tunic, never before seen tunic for Mr. Kenobi. I mean, you can't even say this is the one he was wearing as Sir Alec. It seems once he finally gets his shit together after the series and decides to build himself a hovel, he and Taika go shopping at the local Jedi outlet, and he gets his old man robes. But being connected to the path, it looks like they kind of had a closet full of old tunics and Jedi gear. So it was nice seeing him back in the tunic, which to me, Nick, was kind of the first visual sign that he's ready. He's getting closer and closer to the idea that, you know what? If these fucking regular people are out here risking their lives and, Tala saving my ass for no reason and she's an Imperial spy, what is my dopey ass doing on Tatooine feeling all sorry for myself? And him donning a tunic, a proper tunic, not his disguised tunic that looked just as Jedi as this, I feel like to him was a subconscious decision to kind of reconnect to the Force in full.
Yeah. It was like a page turning moment for him for sure.
All right. So while the next Easter egg we got coming, it really didn't pay off until the end of the episode. But when they are battle planning with Wade, Sully, and Roken, Ben mentions T-47 speeders, and immediately I was like, I wrote it down. I was like, all right, they at least mentioned the snow speeder model, in case anyone didn't know that's what the model was. But then at the end, obviously, we get them, they come and save the day. I kind of like that moment. I don't know, these days, like I said, I don't know why I do it, Nick, because I'm confident in who I am, but like, saying I like something about an episode that everyone is telling me is awful makes me feel like a douchebag. So now I'm kind of explaining myself a bit. But we did get our T-47 mentioned. But also, while it doesn't look like Sully is a cameo because Mai Erskine got a legit credit at the end of the episode. That's who played Sully. Wade clearly was a cameo, and he was played by some dude named Ryan McLaughlin, who, if you saw, what's his name, Jonah Hill's mid-90s movie, I guess he was in that and like one or two other projects. I'm guessing he's a friend of Chow's or someone, and they threw him a bone and got him in. But he was our lone cameo of the episode. Okay. So I kind of screwed the screen for this. There was a Balnab mention for you Clone Wars junkies. In fact, if you remember the episode from the Clone Wars called Nomad Droids, it's probably one of the
slower ones.
Yeah,
for sure.
One of the work more or less. Scroll up the chat a little bit and go through your Instagram stories after episodes air. Maybe you've missed that fun. But there's a few comments in this chat right here that says it was a clunker, to quote. But anyways, when Reva is doing one of the first interrogations of young Leia, she mentions Balnab. And as I said, that was a planet featured in the Nomad Droids arc from TCW, which, hey, probably not the best of episodes whenever you'd get a full-on droids arc, but I think it's the one where, R2 and C-3PO are marooned on this planet with a bunch of other droids after a mission gone bad. So we got that mention there. Moving right along, this is just an Easter egg here. And this is Ben breaking out his Jedi underwater breather.
Yeah,
the same one we saw in episode 1. And Nick, if you pay attention, he also uses it in episode 3 upon his escape from Commander Cody's dumbass trying to shoot him down.
Yep. Yeah, because he gets dropped into that Utapawan pond.
Yeah. So there you go. Once again, little Leia, Vivian Lear Blair, again kills. But I love her. I loved her line, just deadpan, when she's like, "What is this? Is this a staring contest?" When you just gotta fucking love it, man. I mean,
yeah. This
little girl, I think, is what, 8, 9, 10 in real life.
I think she's 10. Yeah,
and
she's 10.
The fact that she can channel the emotions, both the way she delivers lines and the way she physically contorts her face, is amazing. And it's like, I fear for this girl. Like, she's killing it so hard as this young lady that she might kind of burn out. Like, what was that other really great young actress, that Dakota something?
Dakota Fanning. Yeah,
right. She was
one.
She was in like Tom Cruise movies and Mel Gibson movies, and she was great. And then just kind of fizzled out. But, it just, you can see Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia in this little lady every moment she's on screen. And that line where she's like, "What is this, I mean, that is such a Princess Leia with Carrie Fisher's attitude infused line, right? Did you not?
If there's ever a case for like spirit inhabiting somebody else, it seems like Carrie Fisher has literally come down and just inhabited the body of Vivian while she is acting in this show, because she really is just absolutely killing it as young Leia in every sense of the word.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just I think you're on to something. I mean, either her parents or herself did some sort of dark magic, like some voodoo stuff, Yeah. Because really, it's hard to pull out Carrie's persona from this little girl as she's acting as Princess Leia. I mean, she has perfected it. I don't know what type of research she did, if she went and watched other stuff of Carrie Fisher or interviews with Carrie, but she's a better Carrie Fisher than Carrie Fisher's actual daughter.
Yeah, than Billy Lord is.
That's a horrible thing to say, but I think it's true.
Yeah, no, she fucking kills it for sure.
Okay, so moving back into some egg reference territory, as Ben is infiltrating and making his way around Fortress Inquisitorius, we hear the Inquisitors deploy the Seeker droids. In fact, they are the ID-10 model, the bigger one, the ones first introduced in Battlefront 2's Inferno Squadron book. These are not the ID-9s that you would see that I believe the Seventh Sister used in Star Wars Rebels, that was, like small enough that it would sit on her shoulder like a parrot. These are a little bit bigger, not quite the size of a probe droid, but bigger. So nice little, I believe this is our first live action appearance Seeker droid of an ID-10, or a Seeker droid in general.
Good Seeker droid in general, yeah.
Good call. And as Nick brought up, and it's almost identical outside of the location he's at, and this is another egg, but Ben, just like he does on the Death Star, used the exact same trick on two stormtroopers who were just kind of, talking about normal life, just like the stormtroopers on the Death Star bridge are talking about, "Hey, did you see that new speeder model?" Yeah, that type of shit. And Ben, with the Force, kind of makes them hear a sound off in the distance. So that was a direct callback to that moment in A New Hope. But it was also just kind of sticking on the theme. It's like, Nick, the further Ben went into the fortress, the longer, the further we went into the episode, the more and more he starts to look like Obi-Wan Kenobi and not Ben Kenobi cave boy. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, yeah.
I mean, using the trick here, an hour earlier, he couldn't even pull that fucking communicator to himself using the Force. So it's happening. It's happening at like an increased rate. Once he gets on this mission, you can see it. Like his skills start to exponentially increase with each scene that he is featured in.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so here was a big one here, both top moment and for Easter eggs, and that is when Kenobi stumbles upon the Jedi tomb. So earlier in the episode, it kind of gets teased when Tala's like, what the fuck are they doing here? Like when she breaks into the security room or whatever and is checking shit out. Sorry, I'm adjusting the leg here. It feels like someone's stabbing me. And she's like, there's something down low that's super security. I think she was saying a lot of powers being dedicated there. Who knows? But Kenobi ends up finding it, and lo and behold, these sick motherfuckers have a Jurassic Park-like Jedi tomb at the bottom of Fortress Inquisitorius. So that's a big reveal, and I want to spend some time speculating on that with you, Nick. But before we get there, let's just call out the Easter eggs here. If you're on the live stream, which we'd love for you to join in, especially if you want me to yell at you. Sorry again, Trevor. I mean, sometimes things get personal, but we love you. We love having people on here. We do interact with the fans if you're in that type of shit. But if you do like the live stream, or if you want to try out the live stream, 2:30 p. East on YouTube, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. So if you're here, we are looking at kind of the pulled back hallway shot of the Jedi tomb. And one of the first Jedi you can see is clearly an Angri, and through my detailed research on the internet before I did my egg video, I decided, along with a few other diehards, that this has to be none other than one of the most famous Jedi of all time, Coleman Kaj. That's right, Nick. Nick has a Coleman Kaj tattoo on his back. He didn't want to show anyone because he didn't want people to copy it. But yeah, there was an Angri that gets wiped out, I think, in Attack of the Clones, but Coleman does survive, and I believe you can see him briefly in Sith. So that's what we're going with. That first guy there that essentially has ears for eyes, if that makes sense. Like his ears fold down and then his eyes are at the end of his ears. I mean, he's pretty ugly motherfucker. Like I even think the Predator would not go out on a date with Coleman. I mean, he's got a jacked looking face. I mean, you can argue Predators are much more visually pleasing aliens than Coleman in his Angri race. All right, so we had him, but really the big one, the one that got a lot of people excited, especially the young ones and those Clone Wars fans, is we finally get to see the fate of Jedi Master Tara Sanube. That's right. This guy was featured in, I believe, 7 or so episodes of the Clone Wars. He was featured in a main arc with young Ahsoka. And it never was clear what happened to him after Order 66, as is the case for a lot of the Jedi, right? I mean, unless they were shown on screen dying or in comics or animation, we truly don't know their fate. And even if it's in comics, they can be changed like they kind of did for Deepa Billaba and Kanan, thanks to Bad Batch. But it was great to get to see this character who kind of became a fan favorite just because he was a very old. We've even learned now, thanks to the High Republic, he was around during the High Republic era. I mean, I don't know if he gets as old as a Yoda type of alien, but clearly his race lives for centuries. So I think it was a smart choice by Deborah and the gang to kind of have Kenobi's realization moment be focused on this character from the Clone Wars, because she's told us, Nick, that hey, that we we're not so much trying to have connective tissue to the Mandoverse, but we're definitely trying to have it to the prequels. And
Exactly.
there's no better bridge than this type of stuff when you're bringing over, yet again, thanks to Disney Plus Star Wars live action, a fan favorite animated character gets their live action debut.
Yeah.
So let's do a little speculation here. What the fuck do you think is actually going on in this tomb? Is it purely trophy in the dark side way? Or is this the building blocks of Palpatine's dark science on Exegol?
Yeah, so that was my initial thought. And, you mentioned the Jurassic Park type of crossover here, or similarity with them being trapped in what looks like some sort of amber type of material. And that was kind of my first thought. And I don't know if it was influenced by me seeing Jurassic Park and knowing that they extracted the DNA from the amber, blah, 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 and all that. But my first thought was like, okay, wow. So what they've done here is they've essentially given themselves a massive supply of Jedi DNA to experiment with.
Yeah, because to me, man, this doesn't seem like them picking up corpses and then freezing them. This seems like they were alive and almost like the carbonite process. They got flash frozen in this shit. I mean, the perfect example to kind of back that point up.
The kid.
There you go. Look at the fucking youngling. I mean, that look on his face isn't, oh, I'm dead and now I'm frozen. It's, oh shit, I just got fucking frozen in stasis.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is like they're almost frozen in carbonite and being preserved.
Yeah. And I think that's got to be what the deal is, because we know that cloning is just an important part of Palpatine's whole plan, whether it be, in the beginning when he's got this clone army, whether it be at the end when he's cloning himself. But the goal and the aim was always to figure out, like, can we infuse force powers? Can we infuse force ability into cloned people, cloned bodies? And we saw that, the intention was, in episode 9 was to have the Sith troopers, who were supposed to be this first batch of clone soldiers that were successfully imbued with force powers on it. Now, obviously, we didn't get to see that in the movie because we barely got to see Sith troopers at all. But that was, to my understanding, what the intention was. So this is definitely, to me, the early days of like Palpatine starting to tool with like, hey, preserve all this Jedi DNA and let's just fuck with it. Let's just start to pull blood out of these guys.
You're dead on. I think it's twofold. It was to create some sort of infused force, but also for him. Like, I mean, a lot of it was his backup plan, his Darth Plagueis light plan to stay alive even after dying.
And I wonder if this will ever come up, but I mean, we already know that Palpatine was in a weakened state after his run-in with Mace Windu at the end of episode 3. Like, he wasn't weak enough to not be able to fight Yoda, but like he was definitely weakened by that experience. So I wonder if, like, almost like rich people do now, where you just have like blood transfusions.
Yeah, he's eating like stem cells, like fetus stem cells.
Yeah, like he may literally just like, every month or so he may have a blood transfusion. I mean, he is like the 0.01% of the galaxy, so he would have access to that. Exactly. So I wonder if like part of it is just like going to him maintaining his current form, and then also experimentation with, like you said, his attempt at immortality, being able to transfer his essence to another body that is already
juiced up ready. Exactly. I mean, it all plays into it. And the story, it's sad that they have to backfill the story of the Rise of Skywalker, but they do. The way Palpatine's return was handled, it's a fucking wide open canvas. There is nothing. I mean, there's been blurbs in the comic book that, Exegol was at least up and running with a lot of the Star Destroyers built by the events of Empire Strikes Back. I mean, literally, he's on Exegol with Luke's hand experimenting on Force soldiers. So they're slowly but surely showing us his fixation on this shit and how that led to Exegol and him being able to survive in a clone body for all these years. But think about what he wanted, Nick. He needed ultimate Force essence to finish the job and restore himself. So yes, he was trying to crack that nut. Like, how much Force juice do I need from a highly midichlorian count individual to return me to my actual form? I mean, you even see him transform in Tross from the zombie husk to Sidious. I mean, he becomes the guy again.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention just in episode 3, we didn't talk about it at the time, but like we're talking about parallels to other things, and I know that nobody likes to talk about parallels to sequels, but as Vader said to Kenobi when they were standing on Mapuzo and you know everything was about to go down with the fire, you know, this is what you made me. That kind of mirrors what Palpatine says to Rey and Kylo after he drains them. Look at what you have made. Yeah. You know, that's another interesting little parallel there.
No, it is. Like, if we go off the idea that each part of Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to somewhat mirror / parallel episodes 1 through 6, tomorrow's episode could be dark, right? It could
absolutely.
It could be a bad guy win type of episode 5. That is.
I mean,
it's one of my predictions.
It may call for it. Yeah, it definitely calls for it because that was a big win from the light side there, getting Leia out and only losing one pilot.
Right, and what do we know at the end? They're tracked. So I mean, this episode 5 could honestly be Vader coming down with his fist, literally, and fucking up Roken's Jedi path and all that shit.
Oh yeah.
And I guess the other thing we could kind of talk about this Jedi tomb is like, all right, well, what ultimately happens to it? Something has to happen for us to be at the point of The Mandalorian where Moff Gideon is tripping over himself to get 1 ounce of Force juice from Grogu. So clearly this place goes to piss. Something with this plan goes to hell. And the other thing I want to bring up before we move on, Nick, is if you remember at the end of Bad Batch Season 1, they clearly established that, I think, was it the Wayland Mountain or that Wayland facility where they abducted Nala Se for her clone expertise. And we're talking that was probably 9 years prior to Kenobi. You know, if we think the first season of Bad Batch lasted a year or just under. So they've been at it for at least 9 years now. So it makes perfect sense that they're setting up essentially a hopefully
a satellite facility.
Exactly. Or just this is where they produce all the juice to kind of keep things separate just in case one base gets attacked. It's their disaster recovery plan, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I have to imagine that Fortress Inquisitorius, if it doesn't get destroyed within Kenobi, which I don't think it will, we're going to have to see the destruction of Fortress Inquisitorius within some type of media prior to the Mandoverse.
Or even A New Hope, because you could argue the Inquisitor. I think so.
I mean, the Inquisitors,
I think they're gone by the time, like, I'm just going off the comic canon here.
Yeah.
And both I know in the Star Wars one, when Luke has to go get a new lightsaber after Empire Strikes Back, he ends up going to a Jedi temple that Vader more or less imprisoned the Grand Inquisitor's spirit in to torture him for his failures in Rebels. But I don't think once we get through the Rebels timeline that the Inquisitors exist anymore. It's like they killed that program.
I think so. But we'll see. I mean, it just depends on how far they want to take it, and then how often or how long Jedi, like the Star Wars Jedi game series goes, because I imagine that Inquisitors are still going to be a pretty big part of that since they were in the first game. And
apparently Cal made his trip to Inquisitorius 5 years before Kenobi.
5 years. Okay.
That's kind of the chatter I was picking up on there. What's this? We got a theory from Bat here in the chat. What do we think of Kenobi and Skywalker were a dyad in the Force? And, I wouldn't. I think the only reason we can refute that pretty definitively is that Anakin is considered the chosen one, which is a different prophecy than the dyad, which I know the dyad was created again for the Rise of Skywalker to justify whatever JJ wanted to.
Yeah.
But it's like Anakin, he's his own anomaly where the dyad is something different. I don't think the Force would make the chosen one a dyad. How's that?
Yeah. And like, I'm just going to say from my own personal angle, I don't know enough about the dyad.
Dude, I don't think JJ did or anyone. So, I mean, we could pretty much write the Wikipedia entry on it.
Yeah. So like, I don't know enough about it or if it is like a prophecy driven thing, or if it is just something that happens naturally or something like that to know. But what I will say is that, if it's Anakin and Obi-Wan, almost definitely not because of the angle you said with, him being the chosen one, and that seems like it would be at like conflicting points.
It's like okay, Force, you're being a little too kind to this one individual. You not only birthed him, you made him the chosen one, but now you're also making him a dyad, which is almost more powerful than the chosen one. Like, come on, spread those midichlorians around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we'll wait until we get the Filoni explanation on the dyad. Before we
thank you. And that these days that's about all that I'll look for is if Dave has something to say on it, fine, or even George. If George comes out and he says, you know what, I don't own it anymore, but I created it, and the dyad's fucking stupid, I'd be like, well, that's what he said, and that's what I'm gonna go with. Okay, so all right, well, good. I'm glad we kind of spun our tires a bit on that tomb. And it is interesting to think the fate of Inquisitorius, because it's got to make it at least through the Rebels timeline, because the Inquisitors are still around, even though I don't think it's ever shown in Rebels. I can't remember. It's been a few years. But you would think, if once we get to the fall of the Empire, that they're literally hunting down babies to try and siphon DNA out of, it probably doesn't exist anymore. Nor does that mountain facility that was introduced in Bad Batch.
Yeah, that has to get wrecked somehow too. Yeah.
Okay. So up next, yes, this is an Easter egg when Tala kind of had to spin a story for Reva. I by the way, anyone else kind of a big fan of Tala and just how Indira is bringing the character to life? Because I am. I dig it. I think this Tala character has been great for Ben, kind of kicking him in the ass without kicking him in the ass. Like she fully knows how to handle Ben Kenobi in his mental state. Like, she's even the one like, listen, dude, not only do you got to let your physical self heal, it's your goddamn head. Like, you've got to get your mind right, my friend. And she's also the one showing him, like, I don't have the Force, and look at the risk I'm taking to help Force users and help people that need help. So I think the character's perfect. I really think she's turning out to be a great little side character.
Yeah, I think that her and Roken, not Roven. I think that Kenobi getting off of Tatooine and seeing how much these people are putting into the effort to oppose the Empire is actually is helping him immensely, because you could tell that on Tatooine he was just in a state of complete and utter despair. Yeah. He's like, it's over. Right. It doesn't matter what you do. But he also didn't have any sort of insight into the grassroots movements that were happening all over the galaxy already. And just seeing some of that, seeing that through Indira's character, seeing that through Roken, and seeing everything that's being put into this one mission to save Leia is starting to really give him, I mean, for lack of a better word, hope. To renew his hope of what could happen. I will say the only thing that I was like, wow, that really kind of was wonky to me in the episode is when she literally just like slapped the stormtrooper in the face to get away. I was like, I know stormtroopers are useless, but man.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you bring that up because that was another moment. But there's been a bunch of 501 members that have come on to defend that and be like, listen, I can't tell you how many. I was like, I can't tell you how many times I've been at cons and people come up and slap my head, and it is very disorienting and uncomfortable. So, but yeah, okay. I get it. Like I said, like I see this stuff, my friends. It doesn't affect the story to me in any way in what I am watching. It's like whatever. It's the fucking movies, okay? Let's reestablish that. It's the movies. In fact, it's some of the craziest type of movie you're going to get, science fiction. Like not only is it fake, but it's science fake. So you know it's going to be way the fuck out there in left field. It's okay. It's okay if some of the action looks a little wonky. Story over visuals for me. But yeah, I think she's fantastic, and obviously her death will just leave. I think will be another push for Ben moving forward. And in the end, I know we're only 4 episodes in, but to me, this series is doing its job of showing how someone that went through what he did at the end of episode 3, losing everything and failing at his main charge in life, how someone could go through all that and then end up like the somewhat jovial and positive Alec Guinness Kenobi. Like, come on, people, let's think about that. How do we go from Rots Kenobi to insightful Kenobi? We're seeing that growth. It's already been paid off. So if anything, even if we don't get all the headcanon we want, I'll feel that this series has at least shown me as a fan how this human Jedi who lost everything, his home, his friends, his disciple, you name it, gone, and had to cut himself off from the one remaining friend he had in Yoda and live in a goddamn cave. I mean, that's going to work anyone over. So if anything, I'm like, okay, you're giving me that. Yeah. You're telling that tale how that Obi-Wan Kenobi survived that trauma and became this guy who was
small steps.
Yeah, who was so positive that he was essentially lying to his pupil from a certain point of view.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's the small steps. We're getting to the A New Hope Kenobi in short bursts right now with season 1 of Kenobi.
Yeah. So, but anyways, the reason I wanted to talk about this moment, it's not because we love Tala, which we do, but she gives us a Florum drop. And again, if you're a fan of the Clone Wars and a fan favorite character who goes by the name of Hondo Ohnaka, that's the planet he and the pirates would shack up on, Florum. So it was featured multiple times in those Hondo-centric episodes. So, just it's that little shit that I enjoy. And I will. There was a fan who kind of asked, but Nick, if we're looking at the image of Indira in the Inquisitor's office room, the items along the wall, when I first saw it, I was like, are those lightsabers? But then I looked, and a lot of them look too similar, so I just kind of dropped the point. Looking at it now, what's your take? If you're looking at that image in the post there, or anyone on the live stream, did you guys think there were lightsabers back there?
It's hard to tell, but I mean they are. I mean maybe these are. I mean, it's definitely not Inquisitor lightsabers because Inquisitor lightsabers have a very specific shape.
Again, like the trophy stuff, like their kills.
Yeah, like a display case. I mean, maybe it was. Maybe those were some of the lightsabers from the people in the tomb that, like, since they weren't killed, they were captured and then frozen or whatever you want to call it. They pulled them off and they were like, hey, this is going to be our display case. This will be our display area.
I was ready to run with it, but like I said, the more I kind of zoomed in on the episode, they looked almost identical. I'm like, all right, well, they wouldn't be that lazy to just use the same fucking prop over and over. So
I mean, it could just be like a simple design aesthetic within this room.
Yeah, they like long stiff poles in their office, Nick. That's what the Inquisitors are into.
Exactly. But it is a curious shape for sure.
All
It definitely
all right.
looks like a lightsaber from a certain angle.
All right, so this is a moment that I enjoyed. I thought Ben's rescue of Leia was pretty cool. I liked the choice to do that one scene in all dark, even if it took him 4 slashes to take the one guy down. All right. What do you want me to say? I mean, it's not like in the originals we saw stormtroopers losing body parts like they should. It is what it is. I mean, maybe he just fucking hated that one stormtrooper and wanted to whack him 5 times. I thought the visuals were cool, where it was that he darked out the lights, completely blacked out the room, but they kept like the floor lights on. And then similar to what we get in Attack of the Clones with Anakin when he cuts the lights to look cool fighting Dooku, you get something like that where you don't see shit and then you get that blah, 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 flash the light and gone. And the other trooper's like, oh, hello, anybody? Like, oh, shit. And then, he shows up and takes him out. And obviously I took a screen of him doing the iconic Master Kenobi pose after he whacks one in the hallway. But I enjoyed the whole rescue. Just the look on Leia's face when she realized that Reva was lying to him and Ben was still alive, and he actually did come for her. The bond between these two at this point, we have to say, I think without any critique, is already stronger than what he and Luke ever achieved, at least before Obi-Wan became one with the Force. You know what I mean? Like these two are tight. I mean, at this point, he is her godfather. He is stepdad, really. I mean, they are friends. They love each other.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely trauma bonded more than Luke and Obi-Wan ever were. Even though Luke went through a great trauma when he was with Obi-Wan in the beginning of Episode 4. Like with the death of his aunt and uncle at the hands of the Empire and stuff like that, like Obi-Wan didn't necessarily go through that the same way that Luke did. These two are sharing a very traumatic experience together, and that tends to bond people.
I mean, at this point, Leia almost has to get an "I love Ben" tattoo, and he has to get a matching "I love Leia," right? Something like that.
Just,
like, or
you never
Ben
see
is my homeboy and Leia is my homegirl, something like that.
Yeah, he gets it on his ass, so nobody ever gets to see it. On his right butt cheek.
But I actually liked these sequences. I thought they were shot well. Anyone else kind of get the Fallen Order vibes when he's holding the window? I know in Fallen Order, Cal uses the windows to his advantage, but. Same type of hallway, same type of scenario where a Jedi is using the Force in one way or another to use the water against foes in pursuit.
Yeah, I also think that like this whole sequence of like Ben actually being in combat is really interesting to watch because it's all instinctual at this point.
And that's how
like
I know it looks kind of wonky because he's just sitting there going, the CG's not in yet, Nick, but like you, I kind of was like, you know what? He's just letting the Force guide him at this point. Like he's not Rot's Kenobi, not by any means yet, but he's getting there. But you can see that the Force is guiding his hand.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to bring up is that like, it's not perfect. It's not vintage Rot's Kenobi
still
that
looks
you're
rusty.
seeing. Yeah, he's rusty. He's coming back into it, but the instincts are still there. Those Force instincts, being in combat and just like your body knowing what you have to do, that kicks in. Which is why when they're in that hallway, if this is Rot's Kenobi and they're in the hallway with the water, there's no way he deflects a bullet into the window. Like. He sends all those things back right where they came from. Those dudes are dead in 15 seconds. But this guy has literally been sitting in a cave for 10 years, never using his Force powers. He's got to he's got to get back to his old form. So
I'm going to be able to relate to it because like Ben, for the next probably 3 to 6 months, I'm not going to be doing what I usually do, at least from a physical standpoint. So when I finally get off my ass and I can walk again, I'm not going to be able to work out the way I used to, exercise the way I used to, probably even ride the one wheel the way I used to because of that rust. both physical and mental, and that's what we're seeing here. And I guess that's why I don't take umbrage with this stuff so much. The story to me is still, I'm getting the beats I need to get. But Nick, that was a great point that, Kenobi would not miss like that. I mean, he might miss and ricochet into a wall, but not into a window that's going to kill him and his ward. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to miss that bad. So that's a very, very good point there. That was, I don't know. I dug the rescue, and that's where you really start to see him take form, but a rusty form, as Nick points out. Nick did not think his form was quite up to snuff, and I agree. There's definitely one moment where you're like, oh yeah, you could tell they're just like, all right, Ewan, go like this, bing bang, bing bang, boom, and we'll take care of you in post. And he's like, all right, I hope so.
Yeah.
But
I hope it looks good.
I think your explanation is fair. He was just letting the Force kind of move his hands because he wasn't quite ready to let it flow through him like it used to.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So Ben's rescue. I'm not gonna lie.
Escape.
Yeah. I guess just we got 2 more eggs to finish, so we might as well do those. But those black stormtroopers you saw, those were indeed Purge Trooper 2.0s. I know there's some complaints over their helmet. Not that we really even got a great close-up view of them, but those are Purge Troopers. They're not anything else. They're not a new form of Death Trooper or this, that, or the other thing. They are Purges. And then, of course, you got to love that they literally gave the mouse droid almost 3 or 4 seconds of screen time, which I was like, that's pretty fucking hardcore for an Easter egg. But, Ben shoots his ass or like deflected a bolt into his ass.
Deflects a bullet,
He gets all flustered and does his little peels out and he's on his way. But you got to throw the mouse droid in there as our final egg. All right. In terms of the remaining top moments from Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4, I'm not gonna lie, and again, you could argue that, hey, the visuals could have been tightened up. This is a Star Wars TV show after all, but I did like the T-47 saving the day for a few reasons. One, I've always been a fan of this ship. I don't know why. I've always liked the speeder, or as we were introduced to in Empire Strikes Back, the snow speeder. It looks cool. It sounds cool. It's kind of like the Star Wars version of a helicopter, right? I mean, it's not meant to really be a spacefaring vehicle. It truly is more of a speeder, but it can hover and stop and turn on a dime, just like we saw both Wade and Sully do it. I mean, Wade rolls up on Reva and just fucking stops like you would get, a Black Hawk or something, and just starts opening fire. But it just, I did get tension in this episode. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. I watch these things early in the morning, so you can't accuse me of being on any sort of mind enhancers. I'm seeing them straight up. But the tension, the standoff with Reva and Tala and the good guys, like, what's going to happen? Are they just going to shoot them all in the circle? We know they're not, obviously, but how are they going to get out of this jam? And then these people show up who were kind of reluctant to even get involved. So I don't know. I kind of dug the save.
And I think that one thing that people, I didn't see, again, like I don't really go on social, but I know that one thing that I saw with it, even within the comments of our like question of the week, was like, well, snow speeders, they're using snow. Why are they using snow speeders? Blah, blah, blah. But what you have to remember is that's how, like you said, Matt, like that's how they were introduced to us. They were introduced to us as the speeders they used on Hoth.
If you want to get dorky, dude, they had to mod them for Hoth. Like they had to make them snow speeders. They weren't meant for snow.
Yeah. Dude, they even in episode 5 in the beginning, when Han is going to look for Luke, they say the speeders aren't ready. They still have to, be prepared to go out into the cold. So like that's why he took the Tauntaun. So these things weren't like built for snow or built specifically for cold environments. That's just what they had. Like as a rebel group, as a rebel alliance, like you don't have access to top of the line ships, materials needed to build these types of things. Yeah, it's like they probably found this shit at some junkyard and they were like, hey, look, we can get it back up and running again. And as long as it can run in atmosphere, like we're fine. We can use it. Yeah. So like, I don't think that the intention of these vehicles was ever to be like, this can only be used in cold weather, which may have come off that way, or people may have assumed that seeing them again in this episode. I think that they are atmospheric vehicles. They can't be used in space, as we see at the end, because they have to get on that other ship and then go. Like, they are in atmosphere speeders that can be used on different planets.
All right, so Trevor is asking, how do they get through a fortress? Is there no air support? There's TIE fighters hanging all over the place, but none of them work. Well,
I mean, they're not manned.
Part of it is storytelling. And yeah, I mean, did they know they were coming? You saw how long it took the Empire to scramble forces on Scarif after they realized that rebels had infiltrated. I mean, the rebels, they already had the damage in place. And I think, considering it's a science fiction property, we could argue that Roken was able to stealth that ship into the atmosphere of Nur, dump off the speeders close to the base, and here we go. Like I said, that's just stuff I'm never going to get hung up on. It's science fiction. Like, I mean, how does Tom Cruise fly the F-18 the way he does in Top Gun Maverick? I mean, how do they pull off that battle, the end of the mission in Top Gun Maverick? It's the same thing. It's a fucking movie. That's how I look at it.
Like, I think that especially with this, at least to my knowledge, like, Fortress Inquisitorius isn't a place that, like, everybody knows where it is. Like, you know, it was supposed to be a relatively, I mean, I don't know if it's top secret, but it's definitely a secret base. That's why, you know, Roken has to kind of break down, like, hey, this is, like, we found out this is where it is. This is where they likely took her. So in the case that it is a secret base, like, you're probably not going to have your TIE fighters, like, with people sitting in them ready to go at all times. We even saw that in episode 7, like when Finn when Finn and Poe are sitting there and they're escaping, and Finn gets in one of the TIE fighters that's like hooked up to the side of the building still. When he tries to take off, like, they don't, even on that facility, they didn't have people, like, ready to go in case of incursion. Like, I don't know if that was necessarily what was thought. I mean, same thing with the Death Star. I mean, the Death Star gets infiltrated by the Millennium Falcon in the first episode, in episode 4, and, like, did they not have, like, turbo lasers that were ready to go on the exterior? I think the argument
against that is that the Death Star pulled them in the tractor beam.
Yeah, they get pulled in.
Point being, you had a scoundrel, a Wookiee, and a farm boy essentially infiltrate the Death Star, not get caught, steal the Death Star plans, download the entire Imperial network, and got away unscathed. Even though Vader let him go. And if this is how we're looking at it, the Empire knew the rebels were on Yavin 4 and they were going to attack the Death Star, but they still let one single X-Wing blow it up. So yeah, it's a very similar argument to how the Empire let 2 snowspeeders infiltrate Inquisitorius.
I just think that, like, in cases like that, it's probably because, like, the readiness isn't at its height.
And since when have stormtroopers been a competent force?
That's true.
Because that's what I'm seeing now. Like, there are troopers. I mean, the biggest meme in Star Wars is stormtroopers can't hit the broadside of a barn door. Like, I mean, they're dopes. That's just what we've been led to believe. Stormtroopers haven't done anything impressive in any Star Wars.
Yeah. So like, I mean, you literally had a hallway full of stormtroopers running after Chewbacca and Han Solo in episode 4. Like, you had at least 20 stormtroopers that were opening fire directly down a straight hallway at them.
Bro, they ran into formation. Like, the stormtroopers, there was like a whole fucking battalion in one of the hangars they ran into and ran back, and they still couldn't catch them. Yeah. It's Star Wars. I mean...
Yeah, like, if that's, like, I get it. Like,
Imperial hubris, as Devin says.
Yeah, like, if we're starting to get tired of the trope that stormtroopers suck and can't do anything, I get it. But, like, you can't say that there's no precedent for what has happened here. Like, we've seen it. We've seen exact stuff like this happen in every trilogy.
Just like how our beloved heroes in A New Hope end up getting away, what do we find out? I let
there's
them
a
get
caveat
away.
to the escape.
I let them get away because I put a tracker on their ship. So Vader did it in episode 4. Reva's doing it in this episode 4. See the parallels? But I don't know. Maybe when it's presented this way, it's hard for me. Like, I understand everyone has their opinion. Like, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole again, but I don't know. I just see Star Wars in a different light. Like, I'm watching it for entertainment. I'm not too worried about what it looks like and what should be happening if this was a more real or true to life scenario. I know we can't wash away everything with, it's just sci-fi, but I mean, this Star Wars is no different than the decades worth of Star Wars we've been getting. The much more superior force is always made to look a fool by a much more undersized faction. Yeah. That's just how it is.
By the plucky, resistance, or the plucky rebellion, or, the upstarts and stuff like that. That's just kind of how Star Wars has always played it, is that the Empire or even the First Order, they look buffoonish. Like, that's been from day one of Star Wars. Like, they've always looked buffoonish.
And again, if you believe Reva was planning from the get-go, why would she not let them go? There was, as Connor's saying, there was no direct orders to shoot to kill, stop, nothing. I mean, hey, like I said, some people just watch it differently than I do. I'm just, I don't want to make myself again sound like a clown that just sits there with my mouth open and Disney's wee-wee dripping into it, and I'll just sit there and smile, but I saw it for a little rescue heist, and here we go. It was a little too quick for me. That's about it. So I did like the rescue and just kind of how it relieved that tension there that clearly other people did not feel, which is just okay. All right. Best part of the episode, clearly, angry Vader. You're never going to talk me out of this. I'm sure he did something wrong or looked wrong to someone else or other fans out there, but just watching him storm through that hallway, not break stride, right into the force choke, and I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's the guy I love. I mean, that's the guy we saw on the bridge or in the hallway of the Tantive Ford doing that to homeboy there, Captain Antilles. Like, hey, I want this shit and I want it fucking now. Snap, you're dead. I mean, I love that rage. And sadly, none of that was probably Hayden, but we all get to pretend that it is, and I always feel good thinking that he's back there doing all this. But
he was somewhere on set when that happened.
Yeah, he's essentially doing what Mark Hamill's doing in the Mandoverse. Yeah. He gets all dressed up and he stands there and he does the scene, but then when they actually say action, they pull him to the side and put in a body double.
They're like, all right, now
that poor bastard. Right, that's awful. But I love the visuals of it. It starts with him real close up. He's storming through. Then you get that wide shot, and he's holding her up there, and she gives us that big reveal, like the old choke talk to save herself. So
yeah.
All right. I don't know. I mean, you got to read about how they bring Vader to life. And from what I've heard, people on the production, Hayden is not really in that Vader suit much at all.
Yeah.
They even have a girl she's part of the Vader team, just called like Vader movement expert. So I think it's this. I forget the guy's name. It's not Tom, but he's got a very Eastern Bloc European name, like Viktor Slovakian, something like that. But yeah, I don't think Hayden's in much of these. And last but not least, and hopefully I won't cry this week like I did last week, but I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Well, hell yeah, Lola's the tracker. I mean, I thought they made that pretty obvious at the end of the episode.
Lola is 110% the tracker.
When, Leia's witnessing the fallout from her rescue attempt, and I've noticed that the other thing fans are memeing or picking on is the fact that Wade died, and for some reason they thought, like, that was meant for fans, where I'm like, no, this was... And at least to me, it was meant to establish the price of getting mixed up in this type of rebellion. for Roken's faction, but also to show Leia that this is life in the Empire, princess, not what you're seeing on Alderaan. And realizing that, people are sacrificing themselves to save others. In this case, she was the other. But then just her looking at Ben and seeing that Ben just looks exhausted, but also I think she also realizes too that he is getting his mojo back. And she reaches out to hold his hand. It's just like, I can't talk about it. I'm going to do it again. I can feel it already. I can feel it in the back of my face. The eyes are welling up. It's just, what a fucking beautiful gesture by her. Just reaching out to hold that guy's hand like, thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, she's definitely starting to realize what everything around her means now and like what the Empire is really about. But yeah, I don't know. Like I didn't think that it was supposed to be like an emotional, like heart tuggy moment, but
I can only report to you what I see in the fandom. And even today I saw multiple, there's like memes like, oh, the death of Wade. It's like, I don't know. Connor, the all I'll leave it at is Hayden is not 6'7", and I don't think they're trying to strap him into like tall walking boots all the time. So yeah, he might wear it here or there, but from people that have worked on the show and have talked to me, Hayden was sparingly used in the suit. So who knows? There's a good chance he might have been in that scene. But just because Vader's on screen, don't think that's Hayden. It's probably one of the two other guys, just because they're naturally bigger than he is.
Yeah, so I think I may have found an article that we talk about who, like how many actors play. It's okay, so here it is. So Tom O'Connell is Vader when he is fighting.
Yes.
And then Demetrius Betrevsky is Vader when he is sitting
Victor
or standing in his suit.
Was close though. My guess of Victor.
Yeah, you weren't that far off. So Demetrius Betrevsky is Vader when he is sitting or standing.
And then there's a girl that teaches him how to move like Hayden, right?
Yeah, like a movement expert. Yeah. So what they say is Betrevsky is the stay and sit Vader because he's over 6'6". So he has the size.
Yeah.
He has
so anytime Vader is standing, that's not Hayden. If you get a full shot of him standing, that's not Hayden.
Yeah, you need that size, and I believe that Hayden's like not quite that big. I don't know if he's sub 6 foot, but he's not 6'6". He's 6 foot flat, so the guy's a full half foot taller than him.
So maybe like the shot of where it was Vader walking towards camera, probably Hayden. Probably Hayden.
Yeah, that could be Hayden because you don't see his full
It's where things get dicey for them, and thank you, Nick, for finding that. It's I remember now. It's like any full body Vader shot where his whole body has to be in frame. That's not going to be Hayden. Yeah,
he's just not. He doesn't.
That'll
have the
be
size for
Dmitry Victor Slovakian. What's his last name?
Betrevsky.
Yes, that's him.
That's it. Yeah. So
but
yeah,
hey,
those are your
Hayden getting,
like
all my buddies say is like, listen, Hayden's just getting a fucking payday. Like, just feel good for the guy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all good. But yeah, little Leia again with the heart wrencher, at least for me. I don't know what it is with her. I'm sure it's definitely subconsciously tied to myself, my daughter, my own weird relationship with Star Wars to my own father. But anytime she has these moments with him where it's just her and Ben one-on-one, it's like a gut punch, but in a good way. It makes me feel like a human a little bit. Woo!
There you go.
Yeah, Jared, so let's talk. We'll speculate a little bit on future Kenobi here, but I think there's a good chance we do get some form of broken mask Vader. I think it's almost a guarantee. It would be a wasted opportunity not to do it in live action, just knowing how cool it looked in Rebels. So, yeah, I think we can pretty much take it to the bank that we are going to see battle damage Vader, in particular, a little bit of the face and orange, red, yellow eye leak for sure. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, that may come when we get to see the final duel where Kenobi gets the upper hand over Vader. That may be how it ends.
So You think let's kind of lay down some thoughts for tomorrow. So for part 5, depending on when you're listening to it, who gives a shit? You understand. If it does mimic, as the other parts have in some form or fashion, Empire Strikes Back, I think we have to potentially prepare for the darkest of the episodes. While Kenobi might get some sort of a win, maybe he actually does finally get Leia delivered and we can move on from that storyline, or there is some sort of happy reunion with the path on Jabeam. I don't think that's going to last long. With Lola being the tracker and Reva still kind of doing her thing, trying to suck up the Vader, it seems like, and just look how intense he was thinking that Kenobi was lost. I don't think they let that breathe, and I think we get right to Vader and the Inquisitors tracking the whole fucking Path faction down on Jabeam, and maybe shit getting squirrely there.
I think that we may see the death of both Roken and Tala in tomorrow's episode. Yes,
it's rough, man, because we only have 2 left, and the episodes have been getting shorter and shorter. So is that trend going to continue? And these are going to be quick hits, or are they going to let things breathe a little bit? I would love to get back to the 50-minuters for these final 2, but as we found on the show, my friend, when we kind of ask the Force to give us longer Star Wars, it slaps us in the face and gives us less. So
I mean, I will say that, like, if you really look at this season, it's been go from episode 1. Like the show, I mean, like, what we have seen has been an unbroken series of events for the large part. The only thing that you haven't seen in full is like transit from one planet to another, which is usually only going to take you few hours, maybe a day, depending on where you're
remember
going.
Last week, it was funny when I was watching the beginning of this episode. It's like, well, we eventually got around to the fact that they were just going to fast forward to him being taken to the good guys and healed, because they didn't mess around. Like they just picked up. They were on the ship. Close your eyes. He's on a stretcher. Close your eyes. He's in a bacta tank. So they definitely moved along from part 3 into part 4 very quickly.
So, I mean, I wonder if we will get a period of like, all right, a couple of days have passed, or like a week has passed, or something like that. Because up to this point, I think probably the longest period of time between any episode is at max a day, or maybe 2.
Yeah, if that.
But
right.
Yeah, so maybe we have the possibility of like, but to me it seems like, all right, this just goes down at Fortress Inquisitorius. It's like we're breached. We didn't know what happened. We were not prepared. Like especially Vader's like, get in the fucking ties and go now. Like there is no wait and see where they end up. Like the tracker's planted. Like Trevor said, we have the ties here. Get in the ties and get on it. Like. And I feel like episode 5 is going to potentially be another fast-paced episode, because you may see Kenobi and the rest of the crew get to Jabeam, and then boom, 4 or 5 hours later, the Empire is descending.
Yeah, like what if you get that orbital bombardment? We've never seen it in episode. I mean, we got it in the sequel trilogy, but not in the traditional Imperial sense. So. That would be kind of wild, but I think part 5, final speculations, it's going to be dark. It's going to look like the bad guys are going to get a win at the end. I think I don't quite know what that win is. You can't take Leia again, or that'd just be fucking stupid. I think, like Nick said, it's probably taken out some of the spies. Maybe Tala goes down, Roken. And I'm with Devin. Hopefully, Ned B for life. Hopefully, the silent one survives. But I think it's going to be Jabeam's going to take a hit, and the Path is going to take a hit because of the mission they gambled on. But if you think about in the grand scheme of things, they gambled on the right Force user to save in the end. If this is going to be one of the last Force users, the Path helps from the Jabeam location. Their sacrifice is going to be paid off in spades down the road.
100%. Yeah.
All right. So there you go. A little bit longer than usual, but it was fun. So we just got a question in the chat, Nick, in the live stream here. Again, if you're new and you want to join the live stream, we do it Tuesdays, 2:30 p. East on YouTube, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Otherwise, make sure to give us a follow, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you're on the stream now, like it, leave a comment, tell everyone that Matt's too emotional and he is a Star Wars sucker. But yeah, someone just brought this up. What are our thoughts on the theatrical release after the finale? So it is a thing, Nick. Only at Cineplex, so it's nothing I'll be able to make. There, I ran it by me, and it looks like I'd have to go to fucking Canada to find a Cineplex. But you're looking at they have it at 5 hours and 20 minutes, which I guess doesn't bode well for the runtime of the final 2 episodes, does it?
Yeah, I mean, we're already we're at
least 3.5 hours, right?
3 hours, 3 hours and 30, 3 hours and 40 in. So maybe if you break that down,
maybe you get 50 minutes per the last 2. Do we even get that?
Maybe.
Anyways, it looks like it's going to be a limited release. I don't know. Is it just this one day, June 22nd? But you can sit down and watch 5 hours and 20 minutes straight of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So what do you think on that, Nick? Is that something you would get up for these days, or since you've already seen it, it's like why marathon?
Probably not. Well, 5 hours and 20 minutes, long fucking time to sit down for anything. And yeah, I don't think so. I don't know if there's any theaters around me. I'm trying to use their theater search, and it's just not happening. It's actually just not giving me the option to search it. But yeah, I don't think that I would go to it because, like you said, I've already seen all of them. And I've enjoyed what I've seen so far. But yeah, I mean, 5 hours is a long time to sit down to watch anything. And the one thing that I would be interested in was if they had the Q&A separated out to where it was just you could just go and watch their pre-recorded Q&A, then I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I'd pay for that.
But I don't think that I would go watch the whole series again.
Yeah, I would do it if I was going to the screening where the creators and the stars were at, and then at the end they were going to get up on stage and talk. That's about it. But I think I'm too old for a 5 hour, 20-minute marathon. I'd go crazy.
Yeah. But I'm looking at this, and the nearest theater to me is in Devonshire, England. So
yeah, so this is that's what I mean. This is international anyway. So
I think this is not an American a US.
That makes sense. I'm why am I getting ads for the Bank of Nova Scotia here? It's well, there you go. I don't know. Maybe they're doing that because they're not in those markets. Who the fuck knows? I mean, if it was brand new, maybe. But like Trevor's saying, it's hard. I've seen every episode at least 3 times at this point. I already go overboard when they hit Disney Plus. So outside of just like Kung Fu saying, if you could sit in there and have a good old fashioned powwow and pass the peace pipe around nonstop, I would have to be there. It would have to be a theater of friends and fellow fans that we like an event.
Exactly. If you could do a theater rental type of thing, then maybe. But other than that, one, there's nowhere around me that's doing it, and 2, even so, the longest I've ever sat in a theater was probably when Taylor and I did our Lord of the Rings 25th anniversary watch at the Alamo Drafthouse, and that Return of the King was already long, plus you have a Q&A after it. So I was probably in there near 5 hours at that point, and it just
Did you wear a diaper?
No. So that's what I was saying. Even if it's something you love, I love Lord of the Rings, I love Star Wars, but it's just that length of time, it wears on you. It's okay, this is getting to the point of a little much now. Like, you can't pause, you can't take breaks. Yeah, you can go pee and stuff like that. But if you're the type of person that's like, I don't want to miss anything, then you're going to have a hard fucking time. Like,
that would be me. Even though I'd seen all these probably 6 times before it came out to theaters, I probably still would refuse to get up and whiz, feeling because of that I never like feeling as if I'm missing something in a movie. Like, I can't do it. Yeah. I at a movie theater, it's a zero negotiation. Like, I don't care how bad I have to go, I'm holding it. I do not miss a movie in the movie theater, especially if it's the first time through. I don't know how people get up and leave a movie the first time they've seen it. It doesn't compute with me. But I'm a fucking weirdo. Like, I need to see everything from start to finish. I can't miss a scene because you never know. It could be the scene, right, Nick? So. I guess if you live in Nova Scotia, or Nick said somewhere on the moon, you can go watch the Kenobi movie June 22.
Yeah, there you go.
I wonder, you know what they need to do on Disney Plus at least is just drop the full version, right? No bullshit in between, like no credits. Just drop it. The whole whole 520. I would take that and probably sit down and try that, maybe get out on the deck. Although this summer, I don't know how much deck living we're going to be doing, because the human deck setter-upper has lost.
Is now incapacitated.
Exactly.
For the time.
I'm in the fucking shop, so that's probably going out the window. There's no way Heather's... I mean, dude, every night of the weekend, if it's nice out, I carry out a huge flat screen TV, my Roku stream bar that also has a wireless subwoofer and satellite speakers, and I set up a solo stove fire. So it's just like, that's probably all gone too. Yay, one wheel. All right, last little topic before we get into the fan segment for the week is a little update from Taika. I guess Taika's in the Lightyear movie, Nick. I don't know if he's voicing one of the characters. Uh-oh. Yeah. My power just went out, so we may want to wrap this quick.
Zip through.
Well, I know I'm on battery backup with the internet, but eventually it's gonna drop out. So, anyways, all Taika said is, Kathleen Kennedy is like, hey, Taika's gonna be up first, probably 2023. But in these interviews for Lightyear, he's like, I'm still writing it. So. He's still writing the movie, but he's saying he really wants to expand the universe by doing something new with new characters only. And it's specifically like, I don't want to be dealing with Chewbacca's grandma, this, that, and the other thing. All right.
Yeah, I think that was his intimation during previous interviews when his movie was first announced as well. So this isn't not surprising is what I'll say. But yeah. All right.
This is fun. Let's everyone put up a timer to see how long we can go before my batteries run out and the internet completely drops.
Oh no. All right.
So let's just say,
fan segment,
let me kind of micro machine through this. Now that you can barely see me, only through my screen light on the stream here. We're going to get through this quick. This is the iconic Star Wars Time Show fan segment. You can get there 2 ways. The best way to get there is just go to our Instagram account. That's where you'll find the question of the week every Tuesday, and you can participate in our hashtag and tagging contest features, whatever you want to call it. Hashtag Star Wars Time Show. Ready, go. Question of the week. Up first. The question is, let me get the screen flicked around here. Of course, I'm taking it easy. What was your favorite or least favorite part from Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 4? Notice I added the negativity back to the question for better participation. So, Nick, what do we got first?
What do we got first is from Mr. Rippick Tan. Right. He says, I freaking loved this whole episode. Watching Ben shake some of the rust and relearn his saber twirls and defensive sidesteps. Also, you'll probably never go over this, but we as the audience are not supposed to care about Wade dying. Come on, people. His death was for Leia's growth. Yes, we went over it. His death was for Leia's growth towards the princess we meet in A New Hope. The last moments when she holds Ben's hand, it's her really coming to grips with what people are going through around the galaxy, who are fighting and running from the Empire. This episode was about her learning how dangerous and brutal life really is under Empire's rule, and poor Master Sanube.
Very good. We can't really comment much more, but yes, agreed.
Yes, good stuff.
Up next.
Next up, 2797 Studios says, my favorite part had to be Kenobi's skills showing themselves. Seeing him using the Force again was great. The saber scene breaking out Leia was dope. The little spin with his saber too. Good shit, man. Loving it. Seeing Hayden working the suit too. You may have seen him work the suit. We don't know.
May or may not.
may or may not. Visual Approach Photography says, I like that they allow her to land a random spacecraft. It was her
Imperial spacecraft. Remember, she is in the Empire, so we fixed that.
She is in the Empire. And don't ask for identification until 30 minutes later.
She is
when
an
she tries to walk
officer,
through the
and she didn't go through any checkpoints, so okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Visual did not like it either. Noted. Next.
Noted. Golden State Trooper says, favorite part was Kenobi connecting with Vader through the Force in the back to tank. Part I liked least was just the pacing. It felt like it moved a little too quick. Because of how quickly the episode moved, we got those flaws where Imperials barely noticed anything. So pacing issues for Golden State Trooper. And then the last one is J Tivlo 50 says, favorite seeing Obi-Wan fight like his old self again. Least favorite, Tara slapping those stormtroopers.
I do not like Tara either, whoever that is, but don't slap any more stormtroopers, Tara. I think you meant Tala, but we get the point. All right, that's question of the week. Now moving into the fastest top 5 you're ever going to get, because I don't want my computer to shut down either, just abruptly. So I look at Instagram a lot and feature a lot of cool Star Wars content that fans create using hashtag Star Wars Time Show. Nick picks his favorite every week, and here they are.
Here they are. Starting off with,
do you hear my UPS going off nonstop?
I could hear a little bit. The countdown has started. We T-minus 5.
It's the final countdown.
All right, go. All right, at BrickPick, @_BrickPick_ has an awesome Lego recreation of a scene from Episode 3 of Kenobi where the stormtrooper falls on that.
Oh, the lights are back.
Energy gate.
We've got power. We've got power. We can slow the roll.
All right. Now we feel a little bit safer now.
You gotta love it.
Safer.
It's always something new at the Star Wars Time Show. You truly do not know what you're going to get. It is either going to open with the host getting all pouty, or the host power going out and us having to rush through a segment and then the power coming back. I mean, how about some storytelling, my friends? You're living through an experience today if you're watching the Star Wars Time Show live. How exciting is this?
Exactly.
This is reality TV at its best. All right, so we can take a deep breath. Go ahead.
Take a breath. Coming back in.
That was hilarious.
@BrickPick_. The Lego recreation of the scene from Kenobi Episode 3 where the stormtrooper falls through the energy gate and cuts himself in half. What I really like is that from what it looks like, he literally just took the still of the gate and then cropped out
he blotted it, and you can see it. He kind of painted out the stormtrooper's body and then just overlaid the Lego minifig on top, but still a thing of beauty.
And it still works.
Dude, you should hear how much shit is clicking on and off over here. I'm waiting for the klaxon to start. You know?
It's like
the alarm they finally decide to use in Kenobi Part 8
and at the
end here, but I mean, I got lights turn on. All my Philips Hue, they automatically turn on after a power outage. My TV just turned on. I'm in the basement.
It's like the end of Jurassic Park.
Exactly. The furnace is like clicking off and on. I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna get hit by shrapnel. Yeah. Something's gonna blow up down here. All right. Anyway, sorry.
Finally get into it.
Now
a Unix system.
Proper top 5 delivery. Okay, deep breath. Here we go. Yes, BrickPick, great shot there, my friend Nick. I'm glad you picked it. Legos for us. This one got a lot of love for a Lego shot, as it deservedly should have gotten. So cool shot there, BrickPick.
Indeed. @_
Damn it! This little Egg Attack Mall is showing up more and more. It's like I should just get him. I know he's on Amazon, but at this point, with all the damn health insurance, gotta lay low.
Yeah, gotta take a little bit of a break.
We're on a high deductible, flexible spending account, so I'm gonna be shelling out thousands to start. For
lots
sure.
of dollars.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but this Egg Attack figure that Matt was talking about, this shot comes from @Geeky83, and what we see is the Egg Attack Mall, and I've never seen something look so cute yet so vicious in one shot.
I want to go hug him, right? I want to be friends with this Darth Maul. I want to be best friends with Egg Attack Maul.
He just looks so precious. All he needs is a guiding hand. He's
like a cherub
to take him in
and devil cross. Like it doesn't make sense. Exactly. I mean, he looks, as Nick said, cute and cuddly, but in the same moment, he'll slit your wrists or cut off your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shit. I forgot to switch the photos over.
Oh,
yeah. Oh my goodness. All right.
Could you share the photos? We're still seeing Slack, says Jason. But yes. So I'll continue to talk about
we'll go back to the first one.
At
least let them look at it once, since Nick and I hogged all the screen. There you go. There's Brick Pick. Sorry, Brick Pick. Good thing we have some fans paying attention, because clearly the guy running the control room is not. And that is me. So, all right, there you go, Brick Pick.
The whole control room just shut down, so...
Yeah, hey, there you go, Jason. Now you know what it feels like for people that listen on the podcast. They probably just tune the fuck out. They're like, "What is this? Like, what are these guys talking about? It's a radio show, idiots."
That's why we try to describe things to you. Theater of the mind here at the Star Wars Time Show. But yeah, so this Egg Attack Maul posed. I mean, I don't know how much posing you can do on these, but holding his saber out, ignited, you have some good lighting and atmospheric effects happening in the background that really kind of sell that he's in like a dark chamber with one single point of light coming in behind him. And
dude, you know what it is with this figure? He has like for some reason Maul figures get articulated eyes. Not a lot of figures do, but like the Hot Toys Maul, we can move their eyes around with this toothpick thing. I'm pretty sure you can do the same thing on Egg Attack, and it's just like Geeky's got those eyes. You know, he's giving us a look. Like it's a look.
Yeah,
right. Are you looking at me? You know, it's one of those deals. Like he's almost going to go into a Robert De Niro movie speech. You know what I mean?
You talking to me?
Exactly.
You?
Yeah, he's gonna stab us with his lightsaber in the head. But no, I mean, Geeky83 and a lot of these artists that have been breaking out these newer Egg Attacks have really reminded me why I want Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when I realized that line exists. I mean, I can remember being at Celebration 2017 in Orlando, and we flew there, but my dumbass was still buying Egg Attacks that I could not get online for a good price from the show because, they were old, you couldn't get them, but people had them at the show for a good price. I had to get the Vader, the Kylo, the Stormtroopers, the this and that. And this Maul is just, it's a good line. I mean, if you like that chibi aesthetic, the Funko Pop, this is like Funko Pop on steroids. It's like a Funko Pop hot toy, if you will.
Yeah, the level up. I know that our good friend Greggy Bird, Gregu Snaps, was a Egg Attack connoisseur as well. He had some good Egg Attack shots back in the day. So good to see this line popping up in the feed. Always fun to look at. And this Maul definitely looks intimidating. But guess what? There's another Maul that looks intimidating, and it's the one right below it. And this is from @Tank666. And again, we're seeing the viciousness of Maul, but this time not with the chibi aesthetic, with a true to life form of the Hot Toys. And man, so what we see is Maul going head to head with a Predator. And I mean, these two figures just going at it. I don't know why it seems natural, but it does.
I was just about to say, you know what? This seems natural. And we've talked about it. I mean, I think it was a year or two ago. I pointed out it was one of the Star Wars comic books, the proper Star Wars run. Leia and the Rebels, whatever, they had to go to this planet, and there's this collector-like person there. And in their collection, no fucking joke, was a Predator helmet and a Xenomorph skull. It's just everyone's in on the joke that Predator and Alien are in the same universe as Star Wars. It's just... it has kind of become a fan-generated thing that the creators have kind of acknowledged, and Nick is right. Seeing Star Wars and Predator or Star Wars and Alien together, it seems natural, as he said.
Yeah, no, it just works. And I mean, this shot works so well because Tanks has done such a good job of having these two essentially in a grapple battle that's happening. You see the Predator's chain whip kind of around. It seems like it's around Maul in some way.
Yeah, like going around
firing
his arm
off his
there.
shoulder.
Yep.
Yeah, like firing off his shoulder cannon. Maul's lightsaber is kind of, ignited and coming at the Predator from the side, and just like the articulation that Predator face has, and again, like the moving eye, like being able to move Maul's eyes to look at his figure, his focus just sells the intensity of the action so much more in this shot.
Yeah, and Bat brought up a good point. We have to acknowledge E.T. is also part of the Star Wars universe, much more so than even Predator and Alien. I mean, he literally is in the fucking Senate. So I mean,
it's very true.
They are in there.
He is
at this
senator.
point, pretty much anything Spielberg made is also Star Wars canon. So Jaws is in the Star Wars universe as well.
Sprinkle it in there. I'm surprised we haven't seen a giant Jaws,
Space Jaws,
like a giant great white, just fucking jump out of the water on Camino one time or something.
Well,
like that.
Dave Filoni's still alive, my friend. So you never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, at Tanks 666, great job there. And again, Nick, like I said, if you get a Maul figure, you're allowed to move his eyes, and look how just that slight tweak on that figure sells that burning intensity Maul is having for fighting this Predator right now. So
exactly,
great shot.
Exactly, beautiful. Next up, this is at Masso Art, and Masso has taken the same treatment to Vader as episode 3 of Kenobi did, wreathing him in flame as he watches Kenobi dragged through the fire.
It's giving me another tattoo idea. It's like our real ass painters are starting to get this mushy creative mind going on some body art.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. So in this shot, you like I said, you see Vader amongst the flames, lightsaber ignited, and in the reflection of his eyes, you see those, again, that flame lick through. Just the incredible use of coloration to get the reflection of the fire off of Vader's all black suit. I like the style that he took with the lightsaber, because that style is actually very reminiscent of lightsaber crystal types in Star Wars The Old Republic video game that I used to play a lot. I mean, even the small details in his suit, having some of the lights on his rebreather turned on, some of them turned off, the striations of the lines down his suit as well. Just overall a beautiful portrayal of Vader.
I think my favorite part is the helmet and the eyes and the reflection in there.
Oh yeah.
Vader at this stage does have the red eye helmet, and I know that's a thing for some people because he has red eyes in A New Hope. I mean, you can see David's eyes a lot of the time if you catch the right light source. But I dig that, man. Masso's just Vader head, slap it right on my arm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I feel like what's really sold this particular Vader to you is having the flames incorporated, like having the fire there. Like the
fire in his eyes, just as like a straight head portrait would make for a very, very good looking tattoo. And then I could get scoundrels and have them like kissing each other and have it be some sort of message of peace and unity or something like that. Yeah You get on the other arm, you do like I did. I kind of started it to where one of my arms is Sith and then one of my arms is light side, so maybe you can go. I got a lot of sit around time coming up. Maybe I should finally plan out a tattoo. And could you imagine that, rolling into a parlor with a busted ass leg and knee and sitting for a tattoo for hours? I'm sure that's a good idea. All you have to do is sit anyway. So I guess it doesn't really matter where you sit. It might be good to have like another pain point on the body too, to take my mind off it. Take some of it away from the leg. There you go. So at Masso Art here. Oh, look at this! Absolutely, we're getting an Easter egg from one Devin Doty, aka the Super Scoundrel. Apparently, Masso's been getting some cameo work. Look at this. Oh, there you go. Devin's opening up the cameo empire to other real ass painters that have been featured on the show. You gotta love it. He's turning into. You should reach out to Savvy and see if you can get her some work too. Because she just had a shot fucking skyrocket. I forget what happened. It might have been the official Star Wars account featured it. It was a shot of Leia looking at a portrait of her mother on Naboo, and it fucking went bonsai, and she put something in her story, and I replied. I just like clapped or something. Like, she is a fun Star Wars fan to follow. That's all I can say. She's so fucking positive and happy about the franchise. It feels good. You know what I mean?
Eternal spring of positivity for sure.
Yes, so fucking happy about it all. I mean, she won some contest at Celebration, like a miming contest or something. I watch all this shit, people. I love Star Wars fans until I get on the show, and then I get cranky and hate them. So,
all right. So, last one on the top 5 this week.
This was so cool, dude. I'm glad you picked it, because this was one of the last shots I think I featured for the week running.
Yeah. So what we see is Grand Master Yoda, Hobo Yoda, as some of
I gotta
us call
ask you
him.
Before you go too much more into this, does a Yoda line stand out to you when you see this shot?
Yeah, luminous beings we are.
Yes, thank you.
And when he's talking to Luke on Dagobah, you know, not this crude matter when he like reaches onto his arm.
Without even like looking at the caption, I don't know if Paul Brown used that line, but that's exactly what I felt. I felt it through the image.
Yeah,
luminous beings we are, for sure.
Yeah, so what you see is Yoda on Dagobah just sitting amongst the trees, and little lights, could be fireflies, could be other beings from Dagobah, just lighting the space around him. And then you see the starlit sky in the background. And Yoda sequestered himself on Dagobah to make sure that his presence was not found, but you would have to imagine that there were some nights of peace like this during his time on that.
We're seeing it. What the hell does he have to worry about? The Empire's either chasing the Bad Batch around during these years or hounding Kenobi. I mean, there's been a lot of memes on that of Yoda. Yoda's just fucking hanging out eating mushrooms on Dagobah while Kenobi's being chased by Inquisitors, the Empire, Darth Vader. So
yeah, he is in ultimate chill mode. I mean. This shot, it's a very rare thing that we've ever gotten to see, just Yoda in pure serenity. Yeah. And it's very nice that Paul Brown cooked up something like this and shared it on his page. So
he's like,
very nice piece.
He's like, let young Kenobi deal with that shit. I'm too old.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Bale tried to call Yoda, and Yoda just fucking didn't answer the phone.
Fuck you, sleeping. He's like, I'm almost 900 years old. Blow me.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not dealing with this shit. They got plenty younger people than me to deal with.
He's like, I was around when we ruined the High Republic and turned into a bunch of hubris assholes. What good am I?
Yeah. Oh, man. So that's it. At Paul Brown 12 with this very serene Yoda on Dagobah shot closes out the top 5 for the week. Matt's got his power back, so he has enough time to bring you home. So, Matt, let's close out the show.
Of the show. I mean, what can I say? If you weren't here from the beginning, you got to tune in. It was a roller coaster. It opened with me getting pouty over other fans' opinions and wanting to walk off the show, to towards the end of the show, Nick and I having to do some sort of a hustle segment before my power ran out and all my devices turned off. But then it came back, so we got to slow things down and kind of have a nice little end cap to the fan segment and the top 5. Oh, man. Hey, that's the Star Wars Time Show, my friends. If there's no other reason to kind of let other people in on this secret or to talk about it in your socials, I don't know what to give you. I don't think you're getting this any other Star Wars fan podcast. It's about as real and as raw and as personal as it gets. We don't go too much into the cheerleader, super positive stuff, and we don't really get into the hate stuff. We're just kind of the Star Wars Time Show. And there's always time for Star Wars Time, as we've been trying to tell you all. Yes, my friends, it is over. I was kind of testing myself today to kind of see how the leg would hold up, and it ain't holding up well. So I know the 2 to 2.5 hours is probably going to be my limit at the top end, at least until they get me on some sort of crack cocaine to numb this pain. But it just, we didn't have many other topics to get into anyways. But hey, you still got 215. There's no Discord or Patreon to tap into. I've seen another fan cast pop up with the old handout. We don't do it. We just want you to come have some fun, talk some shit, get some shit talked at you. By the end, we'll all feel better about ourselves and hopefully know a bit more about that Star Wars universe and what you actually need to be paying attention to. That's how we roll, all right? There truly is always time for Star Wars Time, so don't forget, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dogs, StarWarsTime.net, the best place to go on the internet to find all the other places that we are on the internet. Don't forget, if you see any of our short form content popping up, we'd love for you to share it within your own socials. That's the best way to support the Star Wars Time show. No money needed, just that support makes me happy, makes me sad when I don't see it. That's, we all know I've got mental issues. But when I'm going through those feeds and I see other fan podcasts getting their short form content shared, and look at their insights, and we've been doing that for years and I've never seen that, it bums me out a bit. I am a human after all, so let's go. Help us out. Make me happy. I don't ask for a lot, but I need it now, my friends. I've put on a front today, but I can tell you right now, my head is in a fucking toilet. I'm looking at some scary surgery coming up on Thursday with no promise of feeling any better for half a year. So I'm not in the best place right now. That's why I need that Star Wars Time show love. May the Force be with you all. If you listen, it will. That's how we roll here. Like Kenobi told Luke in the cockpit of Red 5, the Force will be with you. Always. Thanks, Trevor. Sorry again, buddy. We're out now for sure. I'm turning my mic back off, but thank you.